For Aniston, who became famous in the TV series Friends, doesn't want a friendship with Meghan Markle. And she has just rejected the fellow actress in the most mortifying manner after moving to Montecito. This is a headline that Meghan Markle doesn't want to see. She doesn't want her jam. Meghan Markle awkwardly love-bombing Jennifer Aniston with cringy gifts and invites ahead of the Friends actress's move to the diva's neighborhood. Let me take you through this story from Radar Online because it is quite something. Needy Meghan Markle is love-bombing Jennifer Aniston with gifts ahead of the actress's move to Montecito after her stalking ordeal, but sources say the star wants the Duchess to get lost. Sources tell Radar Online the Duchess is using the actress's recent ordeal to love-bomb her with gifts, including her posh jam, in a bid to win her over ahead of the actress's move to Montecito. According to insiders, Markle has been sending her a series of gifts, including artisanal jams and luxury wellness products, in an effort to establish a connection. A source revealed Meghan is thrilled that Jennifer is moving to Montecito. She's been trying to get closer to her for years, and now that they're neighbours, she sees this as a perfect opportunity. But, and here's the big but, Aniston wants nothing to do with the Duchess because another pal said Jen appreciates the gestures, but is focused on settling into her new home and prioritising her safety. She's not looking to expand her social circle at the moment, and here's the kicker, here's the killer line. She also sees Meghan as poisonous and wants nothing to do with the drama she creates around herself and with the royal family. Jen, sorry, this just gets even more mortifying. Jen has quietly binned Meg's gifts and not replied to any of her desperate invites for chats. She knows Meg also wants her as a guest on her podcast, but she is having none of it. She doesn't want her jam or her friendship. Angela Levin, Prince Harry's biographer, our royal mastermind, joins me now. Look, Angela, we've seen Gwyneth Paltrow go down a similar path where Meghan almost forces the friendship out into the public, hoping that the celebrity in question is going to feel so embarrassed that they actually do a total U-turn and come on side. But it feels like Jennifer Aniston really has the measure of Meghan Markle here, especially using that word poisonous, and especially making the point, Angela, that she doesn't like the way that she has treated the British royal family.
Well, that really pleases me, actually, and I would like to hear more and more people saying that because it has been just so awful for them. And Meghan actually is very, very rude and bad. And I'm very pleased that people say, look, you do what you like. But I'm actually for the royal family, and I don't want to hear the dreadful things that you or Harry are saying. Get lost. But what's interesting is that she's getting so keen, the Duchess, she likes to be known as, is that she's sent lots of gifts because the first ones haven't worked, including, and I had to look this up, an artisanal jam. Do you know what that is?
No.
Well, it's a jam which you make by hand, and it's full of beautiful things that nothing has got any special additions to it. It's just very pure and very healthy. Now, most of the jams have been done by a factory and are not like that. But she's so desperate that she would maybe even make a jar of jam and send it along. But, it's pathetic, isn't it? If somebody doesn't want you, you just step back quietly. But you're quite right, and I agree with you that she goes on and on and on, sending things around until the person starts feeling, okay, I might do it. Or, oh, look, I don't want to upset her too much. Poor thing, she's always so sad. But she's not. She's a tough woman herself. So, that's it. If Meghan wants to send her stuff, it's going straight in the bin.
And the thing is, Angela, we saw, didn't we, with Gwyneth Paltrow, it was a big mistake. Gwyneth Paltrow has now actually been Markled. That's how I describe it, because now she's had to pretend that she is friends with Meghan, even though she did want nothing to do with her to begin with. They made this video. So now every interview, Meghan Markle is asked Gwyneth Paltrow has asked all about her friendship with Meghan Markle, which is non-existent. So I totally understand why Jennifer Aniston is just like, I don't want the drama. I'm moving to Montecito to be safer. I do not need this drama in my life. I mean, come on, this is a woman who already has a huge amount of media attention. And the last thing she needs is to be constantly connected with the toxicity of Meghan.
Yeah, but also if you're moving, they've probably got a huge mansion. It's very stressful and it's very demanding, and you want to concentrate on getting everything right, getting things safe, getting things organized. You don't want to hop off and have a chat with Meghan who will tell you all about herself. It's a very silly thing to do when she's just coming. If she wanted it, she should wait at least for a year when she's settled down, made friends, her family were all happy, and then you could try, but not when you're just moving in and there's such a lot to do.
It's the jam heard round the world, and no, I'm not joking. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Montecito, lifestyle influencer in training, and part-time podcast philosopher, has reportedly found herself in hot water with her celebrity neighbor, Jennifer Aniston.
And why?
Because according to reports, Meghan sent a jar of her American Riviera Orchard jam to Aniston, who allegedly tossed it in the trash and then called her poisonous. Yes, you heard that right. Jennifer Aniston, Rachel Green herself, just called Meghan poisonous. Let's break down this hilariously awkward neighbor war, what it says about Meghan's rebrand, and why even Hollywood seems to be turning its back on the Duchess of content creation. So let's rewind. A few months ago, Meghan Markle soft-launched her luxury lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, with a mysterious Instagram video, lemons, moody lighting, vintage aesthetics, and absolutely no clear explanation of what she's selling.
Even if you have good staff, you still have to have the right thing in the right place and all that. And it's very foolish. And that's a sort of a call of desperation from Meghan, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because Angela, we know that if it's a non-famous neighbor, like the neighbor the elderly man who tried to take a book or a video, I think it was a documentary to Meghan about the history of the local area.
It was a present.
Yeah, exactly, because he wanted her to know about the area and she rejected him. So she's only interested, it seems to me, Angela, with friends who are going to further her either professionally or reputationally. Because we've seen that with the likes of Jamie Kern-Lima, with the boss of Spanx, Sarah Blackley, who she interviewed this week. All of her friendships, she just views as networking opportunities. And that's why we also saw her absolutely brutal treatment of Jessica Mulroney, who was her best friend, whose children were even in Meghan's bridal party. The moment that she was caught up in a scandal, Jessica Mulroney was thrown under the bus. And I think that's also really going to matter to celebrities too. I mean, Jamie Kern-Lima and Sarah Blackley are so stupid, I think, to entangle themselves. I mean, here they are, two very successful women, both billionaires in their own right. But trust me, Angela, if there is even a hint of scandal, Meghan will throw them both under the bus.
Yes, well, she's done that to her father, hasn't she? Not a very a big problem. And, anyone who doesn't fit the picture is off. And I mean, I think it affects the staff as well. She might not sack them all, but if she doesn't like something and starts shouting, then, they're going to go, or she's going to send emails at 5 o'clock in the morning and expect them to have done by 5:30 a.m. This is the way she behaves, and it hasn't yet gone into her head that people are aware of this, can see this. In some ways she's quite clever, in other ways she's absolutely not, that she can't see what she's doing, how she's doing it, and what her behavior looks from the other person's eyes. She doesn't do that at all.
Angela, you've been doing a deep dive this week into Meghan's new strategy. And
Yes.
what it seems that you have discovered, I'll obviously let you go into all of your findings, but what it seems that you've discovered most is that having previously demanded her privacy in fact, now Meghan is the one who wants to reveal all. What have you found out?
Well, it seems absolutely extraordinary to me that she has got an opportunity of controlling conversations. It's not anybody who's going to try and take that away from her. But if you look at what she's done, she's now admitted she lied by not asking the late Queen if they could use her nickname, which she actually asked. Both her and Harry said that they had asked the Queen, and she was happy about it. But she couldn't get if she could get the nickname of Lilibet for her daughter. But she didn't do that, and she's just said that now. How could she let that out? I mean, it's absolutely terrible because she is actually saying, I'm a terrible liar. I spoke to the Queen of England and the Commonwealth, and I got away with it by pretending it was a lie, and it wasn't a lie because she's too dignified to say anything about it. Terrible. She also revealed that despite having a great nanny, she said she found it very demanding being a mother. So it's not many women would say that actually. And the children are not now screaming babies in the first few months where she could have got someone in anyway. She finds it very difficult. And actually, if you see the type of woman she is, you analyze that for yourself, you can see why she feels very difficult because she hasn't got the time. Most awful of all, she said she listened to her acupuncturist and he said, if the baby's crying, treat the mother. This was she was proud to say. We have to take care of ourselves first. As you know, I nearly fell apart when she said that she wouldn't go up and help a crying baby because they can't speak to you. You don't know at the beginning. You can't understand what the cries mean. Feel ill, have hurt themselves, something that you think, no, 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 it's me first. I'm not going up there and getting busy with that.
Eventually, we got the answer. Jam. Yes, jam. And to get the buzz going, Meghan reportedly sent out hand-delivered jars of her homemade jam to friends, influencers, and, of course, neighbors. Enter Jennifer Aniston, Meghan's neighbor in Montecito, and one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. According to gossip, Aniston wasn't impressed. Not only did she toss the jam, allegedly, but she also called Meghan toxic, attention-hungry, and yes, poisonous. This might sound petty, but it's actually a big deal. Because even in celebrity circles, there's an unwritten rule. You don't throw shade at your A-list neighbors unless there's real tension. And Jennifer Aniston has always been low drama, media savvy, and carefully neutral. So for her to allegedly call Meghan poisonous over a jam gift suggests there's more going on beneath the surface. Maybe it's about Meghan's image. Maybe it's about being used for clout. Or maybe it's just that Hollywood is tired of the royal soap opera.
And she credited this, didn't she, to her acupuncturist in the United Kingdom during her time in the royal family, Angela, which shows what a privileged life she was able to lead when she was here, despite all of the claims that she made. And she was clearly surrounded by a group of people who told her whatever she wanted to hear. Oh, don't worry about the kids at all. Just put yourself first, Meghan. Put yourself first.
Yes, that's terrible. I've never heard of anyone who says that. And then she puts on her victim act to talk about how difficult it is for women to earn money and be powerful. Now, I think that's absolute rubbish because that's living in the early 20th century, isn't it? I know loads of women who do very well, and sometimes the husbands do as well, or they don't want to, and let the wife work incredibly hard. They don't have to do so much. They can do that very well. But I don't know when people try and stop women being powerful or earning, a lot of money. But she makes this up with this victim-like face that actually, although she's got loads of money, she's still a poor thing because nobody likes it. I mean, it's always got this negativity about her. I could go on and on, but I won't bore you with any more. But the fact is that you would imagine that she's a very, very unhappy person with herself because she can't look at things in a positive way unless she's winning something. But to tell all that, to let all that out about herself, is actually telling people how awful she is. You know, who wants to do that? I mean, we're all quite nice and quite not so nice sometimes, but actually to tell hundreds of people that you're really awful needs some understanding.
But first, the reason you're watching this show is that it's becoming increasingly difficult to trust mainstream media or the so-called fact checkers who claim to determine which facts are true.
I'm not after any gratitude, but I do think in the scales of balance between the media and the royal family, the media has been as much a part of the longevity of the royal family when many other monarchies have disappeared through Europe.
That's an interesting
One of the
perspective.
last standing ones is the British monarchy, and a lot of that is because the media still fuel them and portray them as the biggest stars on the planet.
Angela, very interesting, isn't it? Because, of course, Prince Harry has tried to paint a narrative, and this is a narrative that has absolutely been embraced by Meghan Markle, which is that their mother, or his mother, Princess Diana, would be totally on their side in their battle with the media. In fact, I mean, he very often tries to invoke Princess Diana, does he not, when he's talking about all of his battles with the media. And it's interesting because when you hear Piers Morgan, who was dealing with it at the time, I think Diana would think that Harry and Meghan's media strategy was insane. And it was absolutely nuts that they hadn't tried to form any genuine positive relationships.
Well, when I was on the Mail, Daily Mail, Richard Kay was sitting very near me, and Diana would call him up loads and loads of times and tell him what she wanted. He would go off running, or he would get someone to go and take a photograph. I mean, she got what she wanted, and we were all interested in looking at that or hearing what she would say. She had a charisma. She was absolutely beautiful and stunning and could put most people round the finger of her hand. I once went to a party with her, and she was charming to me, absolutely. I thought, oh gosh, this woman, and I'm not really like that, but she had a special quality that was just amazing. But she was also very kind, and she cared very much about people who were ill and unwell or small, or they had had bad accidents. But when she did need help was actually when she and Charles split up, because Charles wanted to pay for all her protection.
Let's talk real talk. American Riviera Orchard was supposed to be Meghan's big return. Her goop, her Martha Stewart moment, her way to say, I'm not just royal, I'm relatable. Buy my jam. But here's the thing. If your own neighbors are tossing your luxury launch in the garbage, it means something isn't landing. The soft launch was vague. The branding felt forced. And now, the optics are even worse. Because when America's sweetheart, Jennifer Aniston, calls you poisonous, the PR damage is already done. Here's the bigger picture. For a while, Meghan was the girl of anti-establishment fame, praised for leaving the royals, speaking her truth, and challenging the crown. But that glow is fading. Spotify cut her loose. Netflix is cooling off. Public support is waning. And now, even the Hollywood elite are reportedly distancing themselves. Jennifer Aniston is symbolic of something bigger, a sign that even Hollywood is tired of the drama.
And she didn't want to, because she wanted to be free. And so all the people who wanted to be around her, the photographers, would rush around her. So when she wanted to get off and get in her car and drive, she couldn't, and she used to cry. And Harry told me how upsetting this was, and that it was all the paparazzi who were absolutely tearing her to pieces. Well, it was horrible for her, quite right. But when Charles was offering to pay himself, she could have actually avoided all that, and she could have avoided all that in Paris, where she died. Unfortunately, she didn't get that quite right. But she was very young, and overall, she was lovely. You couldn't resist how she looked and how she charmed you. But with Meghan, she's just a liar. You just think she's a complete liar. I don't think Diana lied very much at all. I can't say she never did, but I don't think that wasn't the way she maneuvered herself. But she wanted to get on the front page, and she wanted to be seen when she wanted to be seen. I don't think that's anywhere near like telling terrible lies and actually not telling the Queen something about you using her nickname. I think they're miles apart.
Yeah, I agree. I very much agree, actually. Now, Angela, Prince William has given a rare interview to the Daily Telegraph, but in true Prince William style, I think we can say, and bless him, he plays the media in a very different way. Because I waded through this, Angela, and it's very interesting about the work that he's doing for the Duchy of Cornwall. It's in the Daily Telegraph, we should say. But, I mean, there really wasn't any big revelation there, was there? But what did you learn about William? And we'll show some of these incredible pictures. I think the pictures are fascinating, actually, because it shows him very much comfortably at work. And the point, I guess, of the article is to show he does a lot of work for the Duchy of Cornwall behind the scenes that we're not seeing. But what did you make of this interview, Angela?
That was actually very much William, because he's not going to reveal anything really significant. I think he can lose his temper and then you hear something, or he would do something because of his adored wife or children. But actually, if it's just about a lot of land, I don't think he would actually release anything that is very important. He says it's painfully aware of what's going on in that. And you just have to say, how are your sheep? How is your cattle going? It's not just that, it's also how do we look after you as a community? That's what he feels about that area, which he took over after his father became king. And the tenants there found out that he would have a pie and a pint in the evening and regular walks and small parties to get the neighbours talking. And you think, well, that's very nice. You think he does do that because he's very warm to people. And he says, I'm trying to make sure I'm prioritizing stuff that's going to make people's lives living in those areas better, he says. This is what we're going to do to make people's lives in Cornwall better. And that's a lovely thing to say, isn't it? But if you wanted any sort of mischievous, naughty, big statements about Harry, his father's health, his wife's health, how his children are doing, if you wanted anything of that, no, he's in control. That was a very nice thing to say. He means it, and he's going to do that in his work. And I think he makes a big difference between his work and how he feels about that and what he's going to say, and his own private life, which he really wants to keep private.
And do you think it's all right, Angela, that the Daily Telegraph does agree to all of this access with Prince William, but then doesn't ask him anything of note? Like, is that something that's almost an acceptable trade-off?
I think that they wanted to talk about Cornwall. I think they want to just give an air about him. And actually, you go to these sort of interviews in the hope you might get a sentence or two that will put you on the front page. But if it doesn't, you can just talk about what it's like, how he's taking it. And I think Telegraph readers might be delighted to do that. But busy journalists.
The victim narrative, the curated branding, and the performative vulnerability. It's not about jam. It's about credibility. And Meghan's is slipping. So what do we make of this? Is Jennifer Aniston just being shady? Or did she say what everyone else in Meghan's social circle is thinking but too polite to say? Is Meghan truly toxic, or is the media just twisting a simple jam story into something bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Is this a petty feud or a massive branding misfire?